All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for being here. I thought it'd be nice to share a little bit of what I've been up to this year or last year. Not shaving, bourbon in my morning coffee, hair of the dog always seems to help me clear away the fog. Mid-morning margaritas, a six-pack for lunch. People keep trying to tell me I drink too much, but that's just the way I measure out the day, drink by drink, dram by dram. You can call me alcoholic, but a drunk is what I am. I turn on the TV, but there's nothing to watch. So I put on Sinatra, goes well with scotch. Now I've got my reasons, but that don't make it right. Sitting and getting lit morning till night, but that's just the way I measure out the day, drink by drink, dram by dram. You can call me alcoholic, but a drunk is what I am. I'm not some tortured genius. The bottle's not my muse. Since you've gone, life's a meaningless smorgasbord of booze. But that's just the way I measure out the day, drink by drink, dram by dram. You can call me alcoholic, but a drunk is what I am. Since you've been gone, drunk is all I am.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, everybody's got to have a hobby, right? So, but actually, I was pretty busy first part of the year songwriting. I had a lot going on. And then the lockdown hit, and I don't know. I guess I kind of started having a hard time remembering why I was doing it. Fortunately, I got involved with a songwriting group that was run by Lauren Adams. She might be on tonight. I'm not sure.
I'm
And
here.
hey, Lauren, how you doing? So she ran this group, and every couple of weeks we'd get together and share the songs that we had written, and they were written to a prompt that Lauren supplied. So we each had a different take on that prompt, and the first session that we had was the prompt was horse names from a racing form. And that turned out to be the inspiration for this song. Shylock Eddie was the merchant of Venice Beach, selling souvenir t-shirts for $10 each. Everyone called his girl Square Peggy, 'cause she never fit in anywhere. But when she was with Eddie, she didn't care. They were two misfits in love, like a turtle and a dove. Square Peggy and Shylock Eddie decided that they'd go steady. Eddie gave her his Superman ring, 'cause that's the best he could do. That's the best he could do. One day Eddie spied a duffel stuffed in the trash, pulled the zipper down, found a mountain of cash, got on the horn to Peggy, said, "Baby, how about if we get out of town? We could head north together and settle down before whoever lost this jack comes around to take it back." Square Peggy and Shylock Eddie, they knew the score already, but they weren't gonna pass up this chance, 'cause that's the best they could do. That's the best they could do. Now that was Fisheye Freddy's bag in that can. He'd stashed it there when he was escaping. The man heard of some kids who suddenly were planning to take a trip to Canada. So we followed their van. Da, 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 da. When Freddie busted down their motel room door that night, those lovebirds were sleeping, nearly died from the fright. Peggy said, "All we want is to be together. Can't you just leave and take the dough?" Freddie growled and said, "That ain't how this will go." Then Eddie took a swing with a lamp, like a home run derby champ. Square Peggy and Shylock Eddie never stood a chance with Freddie, but he left them together for good, 'cause one grave is less work than two. Wiped the dirt from his hands as he walked away, saying, "That's the best I could do." Do-do-do-do-do-do. So that's in the category of, thank you very much. That's in the category of some of the more uplifting songs that I'm doing tonight. I don't know what's the matter. Is it recording? It's not recording. Why isn't it recording? It says it's recording. I'm sorry. That's my daughter, Kathleen, in the house tonight, part of my pod. So, as I said before, early in the 2020, I was pretty busy writing songs, and in fact, I co-wrote a musical with my friend Hannah Wise, a wonderful lyricist, and she had written a number of lyrics about food. And so the show's all about food, our relationship to food, how we feel about food, situations with food. And, we thought, "Oh, that's pretty universal because everybody eats." So we had a cast and we were getting ready to do a trial run of the show. And then, of course, everything shut down. But then, one of the universal experiences of the lockdown, or near universal, is people binge watching every episode of the Great British Baking Show. And I mean, personally, that is the content I crave. if they had 60 hours a week of that they were making, basically that is all I would be doing, is watching Great British Baking Show. But I know that not everybody necessarily has seen the show. So I'll fill you in a little, because this song relates to that show. There's a judge named Paul Hollywood, who's a well-known baker, I guess at least in England, and he's kind of the Simon Cowell of baking, I guess you'd have to say. A little maybe gentler than Simon Cowell, but in that same vein. And the contestant, by the way, the contestants on this show, what I think is fascinating, the contestants on the show they're not going to win $1 million. They're not going to win $50. They're competing for a plate. It's a cake plate. It's an engraved cake plate, but it is a plate. That is what they are competing for. So, a little different than some of your reality shows. And the other thing that they really get excited about is if they can manage to get a handshake from Paul Hollywood, because he's a little bit stingy with those. But also, again, for the people who have not seen the show, this song mentions Tamal, who's a contestant on season 6, a fan favorite, Tamal. But when I talk about Tamal, I wouldn't want you to think about the Mexican food. It's a person in this instance. All right, here we go. Paul Hollywood said, I have talent. He was pleased that my quiche wasn't runny. Oh, he told me last week I had quite good technique and my flavors were right on the money. But today I had poor concentration. My ciabatta was not a good size. My KV, my piping was wavy, and my Genoese failed to rise. Oh, my Genoese failed to rise like it ought to. My Genoese failed to rise. But Tamal's rose, his crumb was so fine, his chocolate work lacy and lighter than mine. Tamal has a gift and a flair for design, and he aced his Black Forest gâteau. But Paul Hollywood said that my brownies were brilliant, and Paul Hollywood would know. Paul Hollywood said I showed promise. I impressed him last week with my glazing. He was quite a big fan of my pink marzipan, and he said my meringue was amazing. But today was a far different story. I fell short on my mixed berry pie. My biscuits were tough and my rough puff too rough, and my oven was set far too high. Oh, my oven was set far higher than was prudent. My oven was set far too high. But Tamal soared. His tarts were so neat. His custard was creamy and wasn't too sweet, and his gingerbread house was too lovely to eat. It's the work of a consummate pro. But Paul Hollywood said that my crust didn't flake, my fondant was fragile, my phyllo seemed fake, and my chocolate ganache was one giant mistake. He shook Tamal's hand twice, but for me, not one shake. And they voted me off the show. I'm sorry, he said. That was not a good bake. And Paul Hollywood would know. Oh, live applause.
Yeah.
That's from All You Can Eat, coming soon to a dinner theater near you. So 2020 is not only done, but actually we're almost done with January of 2021. Time keeps going. It's just 2 weeks now till Valentine's Day. That's a public service announcement for those of you who are apt to forget. Personally, I have other plans. She was blowing a bubble when she walked into class. A Mickey Mouse t-shirt, cut off jeans. We were all wondering where she'd come from. And was she gonna be there in Math 419? I knew that she was way out of my league. Was a graduate student nerd. In those 6 months before February 23rd. She knew one of the guys I shared an office with. Sometimes she'd stop in to visit my friends and me. I used to tease her that she might be the first math groupie in history. Finally, I found the nerve to ask her out and was more than surprised when I heard that she'd go out with me on February 23rd. Oh, so beautiful, so brilliant, and so kind. Probably worried I'd be hurt if she declined. A Soldier's Story was playing at the theater nearby. Not the best date movie you'll ever see. Afterwards, we went to a bar where I knew a guy in the band who got us in for free. And as we slow danced so close in that bar, my heart was light as a bird when she softly kissed my neck on February 23rd. It was snowing just a bit in Cleveland that night. We walked as close as we could with our big coats on. I thought my head would explode when she asked me up to her place, where we talked till dawn. And though I had other ideas in mind, we did the Sunday Times crossword in the wee hours after February 23rd. Oh, so beautiful, so brilliant, so full of life. More than I dared dream of in a wife. Many years have gone by, now we're married with kids. But on Valentine's Day, we don't celebrate. It means so much more to me to observe the anniversary of our first date, 'cause no day compares with the day that divides my life into things that occurred before and after February 23rd. Before and after February 23rd.
All right.
That's a true story.
I saw that, Ellen.
What's that?
I just saw Ellen wiping tears.
Oh, I see Lisa there. She was there. she was there. So she can tell you it was true.
Especially every Sunday with the Sunday New York Times crossword puzzle all over the carpet.
So yes, I did meet the love of my life in automata theory class. Not everybody's got that story. So this is another true story. It doesn't involve me personally, but I heard it on NPR, where they were interviewing a gentleman named Daryl Davis. And Daryl Davis is a world-class boogie woogie piano player. That is not what they were interviewing him about. I said earlier, everybody's got to have a hobby, right? So Daryl has an unusual one. All right, we got this. You'll see. Daryl Davis was playing at a bar one night where his was the only black face in sight. After the show, A guy asked him to come sit down. Never heard a black man play like you. It's just like listening to Jerry Lee Lewis. Daryl said, what? Black people invented that sound. Jerry Lee learned it just like I did from records and the radio. Studying Little Richard and Fats Domino. They talked it over while they had a drink. Then the guy said, let me think. I don't recall having a beer with a black man before. Daryl said, come on, you can't be serious. I can't believe I'm even hearing this. If that story's true, there has to be something more. Then the guy looked kind of embarrassed, like he couldn't think what to say. Reached in his wallet, pulled out a card from the KKK. And now there's a black boogie-woogie piano-playing man sitting with his white supremacist fan, a card-carrying member of the Ku Klux Klan. What is the world coming to? That fan quit the Klan like you might have guessed. Then Daryl called him with a strange request. Could you arrange for me to meet the Grand Dragon if you tried? 'Cause there's one thing I can't get straight, see. How could a person decide he hates me when we've never even met? Maybe he can tell me why. There was silence, then his friend said, are you sure you want to do that? Remember how curiosity worked out for the cat? But now there's a black boogie-woogie piano-playing man working on some kind of crazy plan, meeting with the dragon of the Ku Klux Klan. What is the world coming to? Now some said that Daryl was wrong for even talking to someone so far gone, but they met and they talked and they were friends before too long. And when that dragon quit the Klan too, he said, Daryl, I'm giving this robe to you. And you know what? He's not the only one. Because of a black boogie-woogie piano-playing man. One look in his closet and you understand it's full of robes from ex-members of the Ku Klux Klan. Yeah, he's a black boogie-woogie piano-playing man who's seen folks change more than you think they can. 'Cause he was willing to extend a hand. And that's what the world's coming to. That's what the world is coming to. Oh. So when I wrote that song, I got it in my head to write it in a boogie woogie style, which was in honor of that's something that Daryl Davis is known for. The only problem is after I wrote it, I couldn't play it. I mean, I couldn't play it at all. Fortunately, I have another friend, Dunya Oxford, who is also a world-class boogie woogie piano player, and so. With her help and encouragement, some Zoom sessions, and hours and hours and hours of practice, I can just about do it now. I can kind of get through it all right. Oh, I haven't been a songwriter for all that long, and one of the nice things about becoming a songwriter is friends that I've made, like Donia. Lots of new friends that I've made. Many of you are out there. I see you out in the audience, and that's really nice. I appreciate that. Met a lot of you through studying with Harriet Schock. Happy belated birthday to Harriet. If she's out there, she just celebrated birthday. And met many more through another friend and a frequent collaborator of mine, Hillary Rollins, who brought me this lyric this summer, and we wrote this song together. It's been a good year for gratitude. That girl must be feeling 10 feet tall. She's got billboards meant to elevate our attitude, and a line of scented candles at the mall. It's been a good year for gratitude. She's even got her own cafe, serving soul food from platters full of platitudes. And there's a special on the humble pie today. Seems like gratitude's on everybody's A-list. She is their A-list. She should be proud, 'cause we make a lot of lists, we do, but only one list can break through the crowd. It's been a bad year for most of us, and a shitstorm for the rest. But how we look at things is up to every one of us. That's why they say she is the best. She lets us know how we are blessed. Then hocus pocus, that shift in focus lifts the darkest mood. And with a little more persistence, she might even break down my resistance. That'd be a good year for gratitude. Thank you. And thanks, Hillary, for that lyric. So for my next two numbers, I'm doing a couple of songs that come from my bad ideas for songs folder. I keep this folder because I get a lot of ideas for songs. They pop into my head, and sometimes I get an idea and I think, that's a bad idea. Nobody wants to hear that song. And so the way I deal with that is I write it down and I put it in the folder. Unfortunately, some songs won't stay in the folder. They won't leave me alone until I write them. And so they come out and we do the best we can. So this is one of those, and it wasn't written last year. This was actually in my show in Indianapolis in 2019, so a few of you will recognize it. I have to set the piano on ethereal for this number. Yeah, there we go. 400 years ago, a Hindu mystic tried to explain to a man from Spain that the world rests on the backs of 7 elephants. The Spaniard said, "That's silly. What's holding up the elephants?" The mystic said, "Oh, they're standing on the back of a giant turtle." Then the Spaniard said, "Okay, well, what's holding up that turtle?" The mystic replied, "An even bigger turtle." Then the Spaniard asked triumphantly, "So what's holding up that turtle?" The mystic just smiled and said, "Oh, it's turtles all the way down. Turtles all the way down." Of course, now we know better. We know the world doesn't rest at all. It's spinning and whirling around the sun at 67,000 miles an hour. The moon's just along for the ride, caught up in the gravity of the situation. No strings attached. If you don't believe it, you can go up in a rocket ship and see for yourself. No more turtles all the way down. Oh, it's so nice to be living in a modern world with more knowledge than we've ever enjoyed. Solve the mystery of what happened to the dinosaurs when we found out they were wiped out by an asteroid. Heard the echo of the Big Bang's first burst and built particle colliders to unravel the fabric of the universe. That's how we know the world is made of matter, which is made of atoms. And those are mostly made of protons and neutrons. And those are made of quarks, which have a strange charm. They're top and bottom, up and down, all around. And what are quarks made of? Strings. But not the kind of strings you could tie into a bow. These are 10-dimensional strings, vibrating way down low. Turns out the world is made of music. But what are the strings made of? Turtles all the way down. Turtles all the way Thank you very much. I don't understand why I don't have more hits. Right? All right. So, we have to go back to, there we go. So, there's a great tradition in folk music of outlaw songs. There's the traditional song Jesse James. And of course, Woody Guthrie wrote Pretty Boy Floyd. And Townes Van Zandt had his Poncho and Lefty. And so I got the idea, well, I need an outlaw song. I gotta find an outlaw to write about. And I heard a story and I thought, there it is. That's my outlaw song. And so we can now add this one to the list. It's called Marvin Heemeyer's Revenge. In Colorado, back in 2003, Marvin Heemeyer made a petition, but he got no relief from the evil decree of the town of Granby Zoning Commission. See, they had blocked off the road to Marvin's muffler shop, which pretty much brought his business to a stop. He thought the way they treated him stank, so he did what anyone would do. He built a tank. Building armor from concrete between plates of steel, muttering to himself about the lousy raw deal he'd received from the town. which would soon find out they couldn't keep Marvin Heemeyer down. Working alone in his shop for hours every night, face shield reflecting the eerie blue light of the arc welder's flame. As he welded his custom-made armor to a bulldozer frame. But his task was absorbing a problem to be solved. The engineering part of his brain was fully involved, but the part that puts things in perspective was remarkably ineffective. He held on to that grudge for 18 long months. And all that time, well, he never thought once that there might be a way he could get satisfaction without spoiling everyone's day. He built in air conditioning to help him keep his cool. Bulletproof windows, he was nobody's fool, had to keep his vision clear. Then at last his contraption was ready, and he threw it in gear. His task was absorbing a problem to be solved. The childish part of his brain loved the way the treads revolved, but the part that puts things in perspective had totally failed its objective. And oh, what a sight it must have been when Marvin's muffler shop caved in and he came bursting through the sign to commence his last wilder ride. He knocked the mayor's house flat, then the laundromat, scoffed at their puny barricades. He wiped out City Hall, 13 buildings in all. They couldn't stop him with bullets or even hand grenades. But he got stuck in the hardware store when his dozer tank from hell fell through the floor. Out in the street, the police gathered round, nervously watching and listening to the sound of the shifting debris as his creation lurched forward and backward, trying to work itself free. Oh, but that was the end of Marvin Heemeyer's run. From inside his capsule, the crack of a gun, firing one shot was heard. They cut his tank apart, and along with Marvin, its pieces were interred. But his task was completed, his problems were all solved. The vengeful part of his brain was highly evolved, but the part that puts things in perspective, in poor Marvin Heemeyer's case, was defective.
Right. Woo.
Just not a good idea for a song. Just not a good idea. You know, it's a problematic story. I do feel compelled to add that as a postscript, that nobody besides Marvin Heemeyer was killed that day, which a fact which appears to be more luck than intent. It seems that he really didn't set out to kill people, but he wasn't really trying not to either. So as it worked out, fortunately, nobody else but him died that day. I've spent more hours on that song than any other song I've ever written, and I started on it years ago, and I guess it needed a kind of 2020 energy, I guess, to come out. This was the year for that song. Like a lot of my songs, it's not sure if it wants to be comedy or tragedy. This one's in the same vein. Well, a little bit. I guess I don't really know the difference. It's kind of you to ask me how I'm doing. Since the day you left, I've been sheltering in place, catching up on all my Netflix viewing, trying to think about anything in the world besides your face. You shouldn't really be surprised to hear that my system is still compromised. So keep your distance. If we should chance to meet, keep your distance. Minimum of 6 feet. I can't afford to be exposed to you. I've seen up close what that can do. So I'll ask you most politely to keep your distance. Beneath that mask, I can't read your expression. I guess it's not that different from the mask you always wore. And I don't think it provides enough protection for a heart that's recovering, but still a little bruised and sore. You shouldn't really be surprised to hear that my system is still compromised. So keep your distance. If we should chance to meet, keep your distance. Minimum of 6 feet. I can't afford to be exposed to you. I've seen up close what that can do. So I'll ask you most politely to keep your distance. How could I ever get out of this quarantine? They're not even working on the right vaccine, the one that would keep me from falling for you again. So please keep your distance. If we should chance to meet, keep your distance. Stay on your side of the street. I can't afford to be exposed to you. I've seen up close what that can do. So I'll ask you most politely to keep your distance. Keep your distance. Thank you. Thank you. 3 guesses what year that song was wrote. Written, I guess. I mean, I got all folksy there. Okay. Let me save you some drama. Tonight I'll fold, I won't call your bluff. I'm not up for the trauma that might come from hanging tough. This is only the prelude to the final defeat. There's still room in this house for one more retreat. It's my next to last stand. One last time before that line gets drawn in the sand. Not gonna say goodbye. This isn't do or die. No, it's only my next to last stand. These bonds weren't easily broken. We've been working at it bit by bit. Harsh words have been spoken, and now those bonds are about to split. And even though the ending's already begun, there's more damage to do before our story's done. In my next to last stand, one last time before that line gets drawn in the sand. Not gonna say goodbye, this isn't do or die. No, it's only my next to last stand. You've been nursing your anger, I've been nursing my wounds. In the distance, the bagpipes are playing their mournful tunes. For my next to last stand, one last time before that line gets drawn in the sand. And what I'm fighting to hold on to is not the promised land. No, this is only my next to last stand.
Yes.
Thank you.
Love that song.
Thank you. Oh, is that Lauren?
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that song, Kevin.
That's,
Really
that's,
nice.
that's another one from the song group. So that was a very productive session.
I'm impressed, buddy. Nice job.
Not sure what that one was. All right. Well, as it turns out, that was my next to last song. So I know that's a terrible joke, but so thank you all for coming out, and I thank you especially to many of you promoting the show. I really appreciate that. We got a lot of people on, and that makes it fun. And you know, if you'd like to hear more of these more songs, I've got plenty more songs. Believe me. Let me know. I can do this again, and you know, if there's interest, I for sure will set this up again. All right, so this is our closing number. How am I doing on time? Oh, I'm actually a little ahead, so that's good. Okay, so in the last 12 months, one thing we have perhaps learned, some of us anyway, is the importance of civility in our day-to-day lives and public lives. So this is my little contribution to civility in public discourse. Sometimes you run into a person you don't like to be around. It seems like everything they say or do is meant to bring you down. It could be someone at work, a surly DMV clerk, or the guy who cut you off in traffic, the stupid jerk. And you'd like to curse them out, but you weren't brought up that way. Well, if you're ever in that situation, here's one thing you can say. Yuck foo. You puckin' frick. Ain't no reason for you to be Dutch or sick. I don't shiver git about a wecker put like you. It's my cast, man. Yuck fool. The sign says welcome to the express lane. 10 items or less. No one's complaining about 11, 12 or 13's okay, I guess. Don't mean to be petty, but you've got 20. And when there's people in line with 2 or 3 or 5, that's too many. So when you ask if it's okay to go back for one thing you forgot, you seem shocked, but I was only saying what everybody thought. Yuck foo. You bucking frick. Ain't no reason for you to be Dutch or sick. I don't shiver git about a wecker put like you. It's my cast, man. Yuck fool. You're a disgrace to the human race. I'd like to smack you right in the face, 'cause I know you saw me waiting for that further mucking parking space. So yuck fool, you pucking frick. Ain't no reason for you to be Dutch or sick. I don't shiver git about a wecker put like you. It's my cast, you bun of a sitch. Yuck fool. Yeah, you can it's my cast 2020. Yuck fool.
Author.
Hey,
Hey, Kevin.
that was
Love
awesome.
that. Absolutely love that. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin.
That was
Being here.
fantastic. That was great, Kev.
Bravo.
Good stuff.
Encore.
Thanks for being here. Encore. Oh gosh. What could I do after that though? That's a weird
That was
number.
such a good-
How do you
I'm sure
follow
you could
you?
think.
You know what? I'll do one more number if there's a request that I can play. Let's think about what that might be.
Can you believe he didn't plan an encore? Who is this now?
No, I did not plan it.
That's how humble he is.
What about
Well,
the,
it's so rare that you don't run overtime, so.
We don't even know it's a false ending always. Hello?
The false ending. I know. I should have walked off and then come back in. I know. All right. Well, you know what? There's a few people out there that will appreciate this song, so I'll go ahead
Kevin,
and do
before you do it, why don't you mute everybody again,
Yeah.
it. Okay. If I can do it.
except me?
Mute all except you, of course. Okay, so everybody's muted. This is a song I wrote for my first show that I did in Indianapolis, which was called Prodigal Hoosier. See, that was what, 2017 or 2018? I'm trying to think 2017. Anyway, and I wrote it to be the closing number. Well, originally I wrote it to be the opening number, and everybody said, "No, that can't not be the opening number. That's not going to work." And then I had it as the closing number, and then my Aunt Sam said that cannot end the show because it's too sad. I don't know. I'm not sure it's sad, but whatever. It's for my dad. He graduated from Helmsburg High in a class of only 9. Enlisted in the Air Force, left Brown County far behind. He was a radio mechanic on a base in Germany. And when he got out, he found a city job at the Chevy factory. He met Mom through my Aunt Sam, and he saw his chance. Mom had lots of suitors, but only Dad asked her to dance. And though he'd worked real hard on his waltz and foxtrot skills, Mom said when you heard him talk, you knew he was from the hills. There's so much more that separates the city from the farm than just the roaming fields of corn and soy. You can take the boy out of Brown County, but you can't take Brown County out of the boy. When we'd go to visit Grandma, the part I really liked was when Dad would take us kids into the backwoods on a hike, 'cause he knew every pathway and every kind of tree. The ironwood, the sycamore, and the shagbark hickory, sassafras tea and mincemeat pie, mushrooms from the fields. He'd share with us the things that he enjoyed. You can take the boy out of Brown County, but you can't take Brown County out of the boy. Oh, it's a long, long journey from LA to the end of that old gravel road. And though my life's 2,000 miles and a world away, memories of my father make that farm seem like home. And even though I'm far away, I feel a strong connection, a bond that time and distance can't destroy. You can take a boy out of Brown County, but you can't take Brown County out of the boy. No, you cannot take Brown County out of the boy.
Very nice.
Love that one.
Thank you all very much. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. It's great to see all you out there, and glad you enjoyed the show. Oh, and there's
Thank you,
my
Kevin.
dog.
Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely enjoyed it.
Thank you, Kevin. That was awesome.
Yeah, thanks. It was great.
Thank you.
Wonderful tribute to your dad.
Thanks, Kevin. This was a great birthday show.
Oh, that's right. Happy birthday, Julia.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Kevin. That was wonderful.